You are my heart, and you are my soul, and you give me love, more precious than gold. Never too far, wherever you are, you make me feel we're closer than close. And baby, I love, love, love that about ya. I do. You are the one, and I got ya. I do. Can't get enough, enough, enough. Can't give it up, up, up. You are the one, and I got ya. Baby, I do.
The real story is we met at Taboo 2 Lounge in Roswell. It was my birthday. The funny part was I decided that for a while I was not going to date. I was tired of dating. I had just came out of an unhealthy relationship. And I'm walking in the club, the lounge, whatever you want to call it. I'm walking in and I see this guy. He's drinking this drink. He's like, "What's up, shawty? What's up? What's up? What you doing in here tonight?" So we went to the bar. He bought me a drink. And then from there, we exchanged numbers. And we've been talking ever since then. But when I first met him, he wasn't my type. At least I thought he wasn't my type. What's your story?
Yeah, I mean, most of it true. Most of it true. I went to the club that night with a couple of my cousins, and I seen Miss Aisha, and we started talking, and it was her birthday. It was her birthday. She was out with her friends, and asked her to buy a drink, and I was a little bit tipsy. So, you know, I had a little hard time finding my money, but, you know, I found it, and I bought her a drink. I bought her a drink.
He was broke.
And then she gave her drink to my friend, to her friend. So, you know, but other than that, you know, ever since then we've been together. I got her number. We've been together ever since.
Oh, how we met was my friend was dating his friend, and I rode with her to his friend's house, and we met. And it's been history ever since. But I know he got like all the details.
I mean, she walked through the door. When I seen her, I seen beauty. So it was I guess when you walked toward me and then went to the kitchen is when I really fell in love. I said, "Oh."
He said, "Damn." I heard somebody say, "Damn." And my mom had called me, so I like turned to walk back out the door. Like, okay, yeah, I don't know who
like
behind that was.
I like what I saw. So, but I noticed she was looking at me, and as I look at her, she'll look away. And then I think she probably did it maybe twice. Then I approached her and wrote my number down.
With your left hand. You wrote his name down.
Just being silly with my left hand. And I told her to call me. And I left.
And I did.
And, yeah.
I called him that same night. Because I'm like that. Like, you mine. Yeah, I like you. We was vibing. So I called him that night. And it's really been history ever since then.
You want to take that one or you want me to take it?
You can take it.
Okay. So we met through a mutual producer friend of ours by the name of Great Scott. Shout out to Great Scott. He's an awesome producer, produced for a lot of dope people, but we won't go into that. So I used to work with him separately, and she used to work with him separately. And I would hear her music, she would hear my music, and he was always trying to get us to work together. But she didn't really want to work with any other writers or artists at the time, so I kind of had to like track her down and, you know, try to get her to, you know, first it was about work, and then it was like, well, you know, what if we go out somewhere?
Yeah,
what
which
if
I knew that
you,
was coming, which is why I didn't want to work with her.
You know, why don't we go somewhere, you know? And she turned me down like
3 times.
3 times. And on the 3rd time, I finally got her to say yes. And
yeah, my sister kind of did. She was like, "You ain't doing nothing else." I was like, "True."
Right. Shout out to Haley. But yeah, once she said yes, she came to one of our shows, and she never left my side.
He
after
picked
that.
me up. He picked me up from my house in between sound check and showtime. And
Yep.
he was like, I'll pick you up. Because I was like, my transmission went out. And
She was
like,
trying to, yeah, she
"I'll
was
pick
trying
you
to
up."
make excuses or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And she was like, oh, my car messed up. I was like, that's all right. I'm going to come through and scoop you up.
He did. With some of his bandmates in the car, he came from Gwinnett all the way to Mableton.
All the way to Mableton. And she never left my side after that.
Nah, I didn't.
Yeah.
From jump. From jump. Like when he wrote his name with his left hand, I was like, that's fresh. Okay. I don't know. It just was the chemistry for me. Like,
I realized I was in love maybe after a year of dating and noticing just the little things that she do. And I fell in love with that. I said, oh, this is who I want to be with. So
I
we
was in
probably
love
dated
immediately.
another year, and then that's when it happened. Yeah.
yeah.
When did we realize? When did I realize? Because I think I realized way before he did. Josh is very honest, and that's what I always respect about him, because it's so many guys who tell you what you want to hear, and I think I heard that so much of what I wanted to hear, and I don't know why. I kind of, for some reason, something in me thought that like what they said, meant something, and it really didn't. And so Josh's actions to me told me that he loved me a lot. He was telling me like, oh, I don't love you. I was like, Josh, I don't care if you don't feel this way. I'm in love with you. It was like a Hollywood thing, and I wanted him to say, I'm in love with you too. And he was just like, yeah, I'm not in love with you yet. And I was like, but you know what? I really appreciate that, because see, now everything that I do from here on out, I did it knowing he wasn't in love with me. But his actions, I just prayed about it. I always prayed about it through the whole thing. And I knew that I knew that we were supposed to
We prayed
be
a
together.
lot through, and we still do, but we prayed a lot through like every step of our relationship.
Every single step.
Because I wasn't really like a relationship person. When I met her, I was very open about the fact that I was talking to other women. If I was single, I'm saying I'm single.
I mean, he was single, so
And so as we were moving forward, I was just like, okay, God, I really like this woman, but if this is somebody that you want me to be with, somebody you want me to further pursue this relationship with, show me a sign, let me know, that that's what you want for me to do. And I was trying to buy some acoustic panels off of Craigslist, and this dude that was selling the acoustic panels, he when he saw us, he was just like, so what's up with y'all? And we were just like, nothing. We're, we're friends. He was like, nah, y'all are more than friends. Like, he was like, and he really started speaking into our life, and he was like, nah, God is telling me that like there's a lot that he has for y'all together, that like this is the thing, y'all being together. I had never met this man before a day in my life.
Really weird.
He didn't know anything about us. Like, we'd never spoken to this man before. I literally went there to buy some acoustic panels for the studio, and he started telling me like how God was telling him that there was so much like that he wanted for us to do together, and so much that he had for us together. And it was weird. And so that was, to me, it was like, okay, well, God, I asked you for a sign, and now you giving me a sign. So that was when we kind of kept moving forward with like the relationship.
From previous relationships to now actually being with the one that I do love, it was just totally different. The last relationship that I was in, I thought I had a provider, but genuinely I did not have a provider. And then prior to that, being a single mom, having a child out of wedlock, and he was not a provider as well. Monzo just showed different traits. He was a hard worker. Every need I needed from the time we started dating, he was there. I think when we were dating, I experienced a hardship, and he was there. He never questioned me. He just always stepped up and supported me. And most importantly, he was a family person. And I looked at the way that he loved his family, and most importantly, the way he loved his mom. And I knew then that I really was in love with him, because prior to the relationships that I had, the guys, they didn't have a respect for their mom, and the way they treated their family was different. So once I seen that side of him, I knew that I was in love, and I was hoping that he would marry me.
How did I find out I was in love? based off the conversation that Aisha was giving me. You know, she had God first in her life, and she was a family woman. She went to school, she worked, she raised her son, and you know, I was just looking for a good woman, and I ran across Miss Aisha.
I don't remember what I said. I don't remember
I knew.
I was so freaking stressed.
I knew this was coming.
I don't remember. I just remember saying I will, thinking like I wanted to say I do, not I will, but I had to say it was a
Yeah, for sure. Definitely for sickness and in health, and for better or worse. Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's both of them, for better or for, you got to just stick through it. Yeah.
In the past relationships, I looked more for like what kind of shoes he had on, how he looked, the outer appearance. But what I didn't realize was it's what was within, and that's what I stopped. And Monzo, he gave me all of that. I learned to love the heart first before anything. Monzo wasn't just a show for people in public, but what he's presenting to the world is really what I get at home. Of course, it's not easy. We have our days when we argue, and of course, that's with any relationship. But it's been all worth it. And us going through our hardships and him seeing me through the hardships, that's one of the biggest reasons of why I got married. Why did you get married, Monzo?
Why did I get married? For a whole bunch of reasons. You know, before I decided to even get married, I wanted to get my life together. So, you know, I started working on myself. And, you know, I started praying to God and asking God to send me a woman. And, you know, once I got myself together, I got my finances in order. And when as I worked on myself, I felt like I can carry a family. So, you know, when I met Miss Aisha here, I decided to carry on, you know, with her and our son Jeremiah. And that's why I got married. And it feels good to be married, you know.
And I think that was one of my biggest things. Monzo was actually the first guy who I shared my credit score with, my finances with. I struggled with that. Like, that was something that I hid. That was something that I did not want to share. And I think in the beginning we struggled with that because he said, what's your credit score? I'm like, why you need to know my credit score? But he genuinely helped me realize how important credit was. I have gained so much from him. He taught me how to step out on faith. I was afraid to step out on faith when I first met him. So I can genuinely say like that was another big reason. Like, he is the only guy I have ever shared my finances with. Ever.
Damn, it's been like 10 years. I'm like, why do For me, I got married to you because I just knew like that's what I wanted for sure, but I could tell that's what he wanted. Like, all he talked about was his grandparents and how his grandparents did it, and like his imaginary family. And I'm like, okay, his imaginary kids, and he was already gonna name his kid Herb. And I'm like, dude, can we get married first? Like, so like you skipping some steps, like so I just kind of knew that's what he wanted from me from jump. Like,
Yeah, that's what I grew up seeing. So, my father and mother, then from my grandparents.
mm-hmm.
So that's all I seen my whole life was marriage, you know, being there, having a family, and enjoying it. So I always wanted that.
where it's like it's weird, like you think, I don't know, with me and you, it was just always, I felt like I just was always so present with you in the moment a lot of times. So I don't know, we didn't really talk about the marriage thing a lot until maybe like we were like 3 years in, and I just woke up one day like, we're supposed to get married. Like, I just really felt like I heard from God. Like, it was just like, because I was thinking it, but I was like, nah. I was like, you know, whenever. And then when it happened, I just knew. And I had just gotten through depression, and oh my God, our band had just broken up. and we were so broke. And like I just remember Josh saying like, you know, we're gonna get through this, and I was just in depression just from some others, like I don't know, some other stuff that's piled up over years and just chose to come up at the right moment when all that stuff around us was crashing down. But I watched him, like, you know, take care of us, you know, and you know, and I don't know, I felt like that you trusted God too, you talked to God too, you knew that like it was the right thing to do. And it was like, as soon as I kept telling Josh, I was just like, man, I just think that sometimes it's good to follow God's plan for your life. It may not be the same plan for whoever else's life, but I think you know what you're supposed to do. You know, it's something in you that tells you not like that. You know, you take the time to listen to that, and I was just happy. When we were going through that, and I knew that a lot of people would be either afraid or they would leave or whatever, and you didn't. And you also, you know, helped me, like, you know, in every way, especially spiritually and mentally, and really that's what matters a whole lot, you know, and of course emotionally. And I just, when I saw how you deal with life, how you deal with people, and how you deal with me all at the same time, and still love God and are able to be a servant for him, and just like, you know, a vessel for him, like I really think that was when I was like, oh yeah, that's him right there. Like, yeah, he the one.
It's crazy that you say that, because like I wasn't even thinking about that, but now that you talk about like everything that we went through in that time, like I remember when you were going through all of that stuff, and I remember all the stuff that I had to do, and I mean, like you said, we was broke, you know, like I was busting my tail trying to like take care of us, and like we didn't know what was gonna happen day to day with anything really, like, and doing all of that stuff and being there and being like, just really being a man and like taking care of us.
Yeah,
like
you did.
I didn't think I would want to do that, you know what I'm saying, for anybody. And like doing it made me be like, dang, I really love this person to like really, like, I want to be here though. I'm not just doing it because I have to do it. I don't have to do it. I could leave if I wanted to.
Okay.
And I didn't want to leave, you know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to be there. I wanted to, you know, like be a man for her. I wanted to, you know, like take care of us when she wasn't at her best. And I knew that if I was ever in the same position, like I knew that she would do the same for me. And that made a huge difference.
It was really when you got the stomach flu and you were puking everywhere, and I couldn't get up. That's what he was like. Ooh, she loves me.
when you doing number 3, now that's when it's 1 and 2 at the same time. That's number 3.
Like,
and somebody still want to take care of you. Somebody still want to love your tail. That means that they gonna look out for you for forever, man.
You go first.
Marriage has taught me to be patient, very, very patient, and understanding, and yeah.
I would say the same thing, and also like to also like be true to yourself as well, so that you can be the best person for your spouse. Because if you know what you like and know what you're into, then it's easy to be able to connect with your spouse and come to them and have things to talk about and just be able to like connect on that level. Because if you have your own thing, then you don't spend so much time focusing on what they doing. You're focusing on yourself, they're focusing on themselves. So when y'all come together, it's gonna be chemistry, because you're in tune with who you are as a person.
So, Herb, I remember you stating that from the first time you saw her, you liked her and all of that. How long do you think for yourself personally did it take for you to say, you know, this is going to be my wife?
I think maybe after a couple of months, we went through some things, and I was already thinking of wife and kids. So it was always there for me.
Bianca, was that on your mind? when you
Yeah.
met him?
Yeah, it was. It was just because, like, I had already had in my mind that it wasn't possible. And I'm the type of person that if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to prove to you that I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to be like, nah. So the fact that I was told that I would never find happiness or I would never find someone to love me, when I found that connection, I wasn't going to let it go. I was going to, like, hold on to it.
Yeah, you did.
I don't play that forever.
Marriage has taught me that I'm selfish. I'm selfish. I didn't know. I am. I'm kind of selfish. I didn't know that I'm kind of selfish, and I kind of do like act like a I don't know a princess. But he treats me like one, so he shouldn't have did
You
that.
are one. You are one. Marriage has taught me a lot about letting a person be who they are, and not trying to force them into what you want them to be or what your expectation of them is, and allowing them to grow at their own pace and in their own way. I think it's so easy to like look at ourselves and try to think about like what we would do or how we would do it and be like, well, why don't you just do it that way? Because I did it that way and it worked for me. You know what I'm saying? But I think marriage has really taught me that like when you're with somebody, you have to respect them enough to let them grow in their own way and in their own time, and to love them enough to be patient with them through that process and let them grow and just love them through that process instead of like judging them or making them feel bad. So like I think that's probably one of the biggest things that marriage has taught me is like patience and just like allowing people to be who they are.
It was a lot of staying out late, going out, having
Right.
fun. You doing what you do, I do what I do, and then meeting up, at the end. But since the transaction of marriage and kids, I would say not. I wouldn't say.
I'm gonna do the after.
Yeah, I
I'ma
wouldn't
do the
say
after.
low or nothing, but
Yeah, honestly, I don't feel like no lows came until
Right.
like about that 7-year mark for us. I feel like that's when stuff started to get real. That's when it starts to get real because HJ, and we had had HJ, and then we had Austin and Aaliyah, and so that I don't know.
and then
I
the
just
surgery.
Yeah, and then
yeah.
so for a low and high after the kids, I would say a low for the kids is probably like the surgery and nursing and just trying to get like your body back and the new normal and not sleeping and figuring out eating it like this. That man, I could go. That just, but then the high is
That's sleep. Ooh.
like the love for your kids and then seeing your kids and each other and kind of like being like, no, that's your kid. No, that's your kid. And like just being able to relate on that level. And also, yeah, that's the highs. Like your children and they're you. And then we love each other so much. So that just kind of bonds us even more. But I would say because we love each other, it bonds it even more.
What's that?
Everything is like kind of on a high right now.
Yeah.
Like one specific instance of a high, we went to Vegas for our 1-year anniversary and like really enjoyed ourselves, and I don't know. There's so many highs. I mean, that's definitely a big one.
I
but
know
like,
there's a lot of highs of a good marriage, and I feel like we're good. We only been married a year, but okay. So the good is the guiltless sex. Okay, it's no guilt. I do like that. I like that. It's just like for some reason, it's just like this is my freaking husband. Like like I love being able to say that. I think the downer is marriage is so great, but sometimes when you get married and you're living life with a person, it can take the fun out of like a relationship sometimes, and sometimes the fun is what turns you on. The fun, like the things that are like so spontaneous, and even though we're musicians. Or we travel a lot. Even though you travel, you still got to be professional. Things like that. I mean, people know we together. It's not like that, but you still, you have to be away so you're on. So like you always have to just make sure that you make time. I'm already seeing that. We only been married a freaking year, and I'm already seeing that there was a freaking difference when we got married because life, you're merging things together. My freaking last name changed. Like that junk was like really so, and you're just getting on this new self. And so like marriage can be that, but I do see that it's very, very important that you take time to just love on each other and just be with each other and stuff like that and do whatever it takes to keep that fire burning.
The most challenging part about being married, I can say just from our experience from being married 3 years, is hardship. We experienced hardship the first year of our marriage. I got pregnant with my daughter Aubrey, and at 4 months pregnant, I was put out of work. And I think that was the biggest challenge, is hardship. A lot of times people don't know how to deal with hardship, and I think that really determines the strength of a man. In the beginning, I struggled, like I said, with finances, sharing things with Monzo. So I think that part allowed me to allow him to be the head of the home. And us getting through that hardship together and realizing how far we have come, I think that's the biggest challenge of a marriage. Marriage, relationships, whatever, is hardship. Because a lot of times we want every day to be perfect. But I'm actually thankful for that hardship because it made us stronger. The hardship allowed us to open up a business. The hardship allowed us to get a new vehicle. The hardship brought us closer to God. It made us pray together. So I think that was the biggest thing of marriage, is just going through that hardship, in my opinion. What about you, Monzo?
And like you say, the hardest thing is hardship. And, when my wife got pregnant with my little girl, Aubrey, it put me in a situation to where I had to take on all the bills myself. And those some tough decisions because you gotta make sure that you getting the right ones that you can do now and come back and finish. So you have to make sure that you get the right ones, and it's tough.
We never really had
Yeah, for you. So for me, I think that it probably would be family issues. That has been our most ups and high. It really ain't been nothing between us, just between us.
not
but,
personally, but
yeah, but dealing with outside forces. I always tell, if I'm talking to a friend or something, I'll be like, it ain't us. I feel like it's the outside that's always trying to come inside and kind of tear what we have going on apart. So that ain't even an issue.
I guess
for you,
really
so.
just the issue of whatever
That ain't even
side of family member it is, that person, if it's my side or her side, I will go talk to them for her and let them know, or whatever, just to make her feel comfortable.
right. And same thing for me. I would do the same. Yeah.
Time. You have to put in that time. Just basically listening, being there, letting her know that she's still number one. Even if you have kids or don't have kids, just still time.
That QT, baby. I would say some advice that I would give people that were going to get married. I would say ask a lot of questions. Like, don't be afraid to find out who the person really is and what it is they see for their future. Just really trying to get to know who a person is. I would say even go to like marriage counseling, because I feel like that could, not even like, maybe even deeper than that, just like really try to find out who a person is, because you do learn along the way. But I feel like if you get those questions asked, then it'll save you those hard lessons that you learn along the way. Like, dang, if I would have just known that already, then we could have just nipped that in the bud. So I would, yeah.
My advice for people looking to get married is take your time, but don't waste no time. I think that a lot of people rush into marriage and later on see that they didn't take enough time to really get to know the person that they were with. And some people wait too doggone long and lose a person that could have been the best thing that ever happened in their life. So I think that you should always take as much time as you need, but not waste a second of your time or anybody else's time. If you know that you can't see yourself having a future with a person, let them go. You know what I'm saying? Like, let them go, or, you know, cut it off. You know what I'm saying?
And if you know you can't see yourself having a future with that person like they are right now, not talking about, oh, he's
Right.
gonna change. He's not.
Thank you, guys.
I don't think I was looking in the camera.
You were like everywhere.
I
They'll
know I
edit
am
it.
I'm a everywhere type of person. Like, I
They'll
don't.
edit it.
Oh, you cool. We're good.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
Y'all really good.
Again.
I think I started loosening up at the end.
Black life is not really represented in the media. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's just like hip hop and cats being thugs and cats, you know what I'm saying, like tricking off in the strip club.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then you got your, like you said, loving hip hop and that type of stuff. But you don't see a whole lot of just like black families,
Right.
black love. There's not a lot of music about that. There's not a lot of like stuff about that on TV.
Right.
You might get like, you got Blackish, but that's like it.
Right.